All right, this webinar today is about run-through instruction and Microsoft Word. And so I'm going to show you some of the intricacies, if you like, how the application thinks and talks to Word and how to do certain things like merge fields and that sort of stuff. I'll also show you how all the styles work and some quite techie things, actually. So that's what we're going to do over the course of this next short period. So I'll turn off my camera and share my screen. You can pose questions in the Q&A inside of here if you want to do so. And obviously any question would be most welcome. So let's see, I'm going to share the screen. Not that screen, share the screen. Okay. And stop the video. Okay, how's that look? Yes, thumbs up. All right, so this is run through instruction. This is the version that we'll be releasing in the next week or so. So there might be a couple of buttons and switches in here that you haven't seen before, but nothing that I talk about today in terms of Microsoft Word is going to affect that. I've made a file, a pre-prepared one, because as I said earlier, you guys are all customers of the users of the application already. So I'm not going to go through the usual buttons and switches and showing you how to create frames. You might not have seen these little indications here before, this Australia and New Zealand thing. I just thought it'd be nice, seeing as the audience today, you guys are either from New Zealand or Australia. I'd probably talk about the rugby at this point if we'd won something in the last few years, but we haven't, so we won't be talking about rugby today. So we can largely ignore the Australia, New Zealand. There's other information on the website about the tagging and where this information comes from, but that's not the topic of today. Today is about publishing Word documents. So in fact, I've made a little list of things today that we're going to do. So we're going to look at where the Word templates are and how to edit them. I know it's a bit basic, but it'll allow me to explain a few of the more important things around why we do it and the way that we do it. How you can make your own template, which is really quick and easy, but we'll probably edit one that's just there already. How styles and colors work between instruction and Word. So we're going to look at how the application thinks when it's formatting content for the output. Updating the templates for new files. We're going to talk about how that works. And we're going to actually have a look at what a Word document is really, because there is there's kind of a bit of interesting magic to that. We're going to do merge fields and bookmarks and something called walkthrough content, make a table of contents, do cross-referencing, put some attachments into a Word document, and talk about something called table v2 frames. And we're going to do all that over the course of hopefully the next half an hour or so. All right. So you guys know to make a Word document, you reach to the top of the page up here in the Publish menu, and click on the top half of the button, and it will make a Word document. There are 7 different flavors of Word document. The top half of the button will publish whatever you'd chosen last. So if this was the last thing you publish and you choose the top half of the button, it will publish this again. Well, the bottom half of the button shows you this list of options here. So this one here was, they're all variations on a theme. Yeah, this one has the biggest picture and it goes at the top of the text. This one has these nice little panels in it, and you can the picture gives you a bit of an indication as to what's going to happen. So let's just make one of these for the sake of the argument, push the publish button, and we'll see the output turn up. And so this is somewhere on my screen. He says, hopefully here it is. It's turned up here on the right-hand side. So this is a Contossi example. It has some text in it called My Brilliant Title, and then there's the sort of thing that you would expect. So the first item on our list is where is the Word template and how to edit it. Okay, so in Publish inside of here, where I've chosen one of 7 different things, if you pop open this list, they will all show you where the Word template lives. In my case, it's at this location here, wordtemplate.dotx. And so what we'll do is we'll go to that same location and we can find that file. It's always in My Documents, or what used to be called My Documents, Runthru templates. And so this particular one is in the Contossi folder, and it's called Word template.dotx. And you can edit that in here and point it at something else. So you could open this up, go to somewhere else on your disk and point it at a completely different Word template. But it needs to be a DOTX. I'm going to navigate to that in a different way just to show you that I can. And so here is my PC, Documents, Runthru Templates, Contossi. This is that list that you see when you start the application. When you launch the application, and you might see default and you might see your own versions of templates in here. It comes from this place. In fact, technically what it does is it looks at all the folders at this level, all the folders, and when it finds a folder, it looks in the folder and it says, does this look like a set of run-through templates? So it particularly would look for styles.xml and identify that, and if it finds it, it lists it for you. Now, the one that we want to play with today is the Contossi one. So this is our Word template, matches the path in the application. This is the one that you edit. Now, if you double click on this, you're not going to get to edit the template. If you double click on it, it's going to make document 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And if you save it, it makes document 1, 2, 3, or 5, 4, or 5, right? So you're not editing the template if you double click on it. So we don't want to do that. What we want to do is right click on it and say open. You'd think that would be the same thing, but it's not. Because it's a DOTX, it's a template file, you have to open it, right click, open. And then whatever you do in here is going to turn up in the output. So if this was part of the template, then it's going to turn up in the output. So we'll save that, come back into Runthru. We'll just push the publish button again. And I've actually now just changed this template file at 11:09 a.m. So back here in Runthru land, we publish again, push the top half of the button, and out the other end will come this file. And somewhere in here is going to come that little piece of text. Here it is. If this was part of the template, has ended up at the bottom of the document. I'm going to explain in a minute how you get this at the bottom of the document and not the top of the document. So it is on our list to do. So I will definitely come back and show you that. So the Word template is sitting in typically in your templates folder. It's templates, in my case, Contossi, and in your case, it will be something else. What I should do is I should pop out the little, on my second monitor, the Q&A chat here. And I can't see it immediately. Chat Q&A. Okay, now I've got that open. So if you have any questions, I think I should see those straight away. All right, so if you wanted to, you can edit this template as much as you want, but if you want to make a new one, well, that's fine. You can just copy and paste this DOTX file and you can make a new one. You know, it's as simple as that. So I could come in here and I could copy and paste it and it would make a, you know, copy version of that thing, and away we go. We're not going to bother doing that today. We're just going to edit this one. So let's dig a little bit further into the way the pieces hang together. So you can make your own template just by copying and pasting it. By the way, you can do that at this level as well. So if you were to copy and paste the Contossi folder, you would get Contossi-copy, which you could edit to be anything that you want. And then inside of that folder, you can make any changes you want, and it will be independent of the first one. Now, that sort of takes me in a direction where we need to talk about the relationship between this folder and this file. They are connected, and they'll be connected into the future based on publishing. So if you publish a Word file or a PowerPoint file, each of those things relies on that template that sits in that folder on your disk. There's a lot of other things in that folder on the disk, however, that are not used in here anymore. The Word file and the PowerPoint file and the HTML template and e-learning template and video templates and things, they're all resident on the disk, but the styles of the text are not resident on the disk. So we're going to start to talk a little bit about those now. I think we'll talk about these styles and colors and how they're different between the application. When you kick off Runthru and you start a new file, you choose that theme, such as Contosi, and this file inherits all of that information. All of that color and all the colors of these objects, that all comes from the initial template. But if you change that template on the disk, it doesn't change in here. If you duplicate Contosi, it doesn't change in here. You have to do a couple of special things to get it to change in here. So we'll come back to that. But I thought what we might do is just dig a little deeper on the difference between what things look like here and what they look like in Word. So select previous overloaded and future from the status section. And if this ends up in Microsoft Word, it will look actually quite similar, yeah? So it will look quite similar. It looks quite similar, yeah? So this is the normal style. Let's have a look at what this actually is. This is this Calibri 11 point. Okay, so that's what it looks like in Word, Calibri 11 point. But what does that actually look like in here? What is that style in this box here? Well, let's have a look. If I pop open, I should do that more slowly, shouldn't I? If I double click on this, you get the little floating editor and you get this guy here, this little jump into the styles thing. And so it pops up the little styles and templates box. And what it says here is this style called counter, It is a text box, which is orange, a counter, which is orange, with this sort of green edge here, with a counter border width of 1. You might just be able to make that out. This is a bit academic for Word, but this isn't. In here, it's not that Calibri. It's not 11, it's 12. It's Arial 12. In here, it's different to Microsoft Word. So that's a little bit funky, and there's a really important reason for that. Let's just make it a bit bigger, because we can, which might exacerbate the problem for us and the reason for its existence. The idea is what things look like inside of this world can be completely different to what they look like in Microsoft Word. This is a rather important fundamental. The idea is you might want to design in here for big text, for e-learning, or for PowerPoint, but in Word, it would just be too big. In the old days, it's not a big issue anymore, but there used to be a theory that you would use a sans serif text for screen-based delivery and a serifed text for print. So a serif text might be, Times Roman, for example, the one with the little curly bits on it. So perhaps let's actually see if that is in here and we can get it. Times New Roman. This is going to make it look great, isn't it? Apply changes. And so in here, we're back to front. So we've got text that suits print inside of the digital version. And in the print version, we're set up for it not to look like that. We're set up for using a serif text. So a sans serif text. So the serifs are the little bits that are on the edge of the characters here. Apparently in print, it's easier to read. We don't do that anymore. No one cares about it, but apparently that's the case. So let's pretend that your style guide suggests that you have one font for electronic delivery and a different font for print. So in here is the font for, in our case, screen delivery. But if we go to Microsoft Word, it will still look like this. It will still look like it did before. It's still normal. It's still Calibri. It's still 11 point. It doesn't look like it does inside of the application. So this is absolutely intentional. They can be the same, but they're different. So let's look at in here again. I'll pop open the box, look at these styles, and in here, here's the connection between the two. It's just this tiny piece of information at the bottom to match the counter style. So we've chosen the counter style, and in the application, it's going to be Times New Roman in black 14 point. But when you get to Microsoft Word, just ignore all that and make whatever it is in Word, make it use normal. Whatever the normal style is in Word, please do that for us. That's a major connection between the applications, and the reason is so you can design content that will suit different medias. That's the whole premise of this. Now, let's do, I had an idea earlier. I thought we could use this as an experiment. Read this text carefully. So this one in here is the warning one. So what we'll do is pop up the box again, go from counter to warning, and inside of here you can see that warning is also using the normal style. All right, so if we publish this, fortunately the publishing is really quick. We pop open the box and we will find that information element in here. Here it is. Read this text carefully using normal style, Calibri 11. All right, but you don't have to do that. So you can define as many of these things as you want. He says, quickly looking over at the messages. So let's make one for warning. So we in document 1, this is a published output. If we make a new style in here, it's not going to be that useful. Excuse me. So what we'll do is we'll do it in our template. Probably the easiest way of getting to the template would be to pop this up and no, let's just do it from the disk because that's going to be quicker. So we'll bring back the Contossi window. Come on. Here it is. And we'll edit, right click, open. So we're editing the template on the disk. So we'll pop this open, and up the top here, what we might do so we can see what this looks like is we'll grab that, is we're going to come in here and create a style. The style is going to be called warning, can be called anything you want. And in here, it's going to be a paragraph style. It's based on normal, that's fine. This is not going to matter too much, but what we will do is make it obvious that this is a bit different. So let's go into, instead of font, we'll leave it at Calibri 11, but we'll go in and look at border. And what we might do is put a box around it, and we can color that orange. That could be cool. And in shading, fill, fair enough. Let's have a look. There's no guarantee that this is going to look any good at all, by the way, but you'll get the idea, I'm sure. Okay, so that is roughly what we're heading for. It's called a paragraph style called warning. It's going to be white text on an orange background. That's what it's going to look like. So we'll click on OK. We've now got a new style in here called warning, and it's in wordtemplate.dotx, and we'll save wordtemplate.dotx and pop it away. We did leave a residual element in the document. You'll see that. I should just delete it, but we'll leave it for the moment. And here we are. Okay, so this box here, double click, open up the editor, and you'll see inside of here, not counter style, warning style. It is in the application, simply white background, black text. But when you get to Microsoft Word, please make it a warning style. Now, this is not about HTML, but you can add a class into here as well. And you can marry this to different outputs for different things in the application in different ways. But this is the one we care about today. Type the word warning in there, click on apply changes. And if I've managed to get this right, push the word button, and let's see if we get orange text. Otherwise, you will see me very quickly try and get my head around what I've done wrong. Okay, there we go. And so this is simply warning style inside of here because we chose that style for that sort of box. So that's what happens. And so you could have given it a black border, pink text, whatever. This is how it thinks when it's creating outputs and marrying out to Microsoft Word using these and not the styles that you chose originally, right? So not the design in Runthru instruction, not the design in this box here. Here it is for this one, publishing terms warning, not the stuff that appears over here, simply that piece of text in there, marries it to this output, and that's what happens. Now, let's just move on to something related to this, which is your template. So this information here for all of the different styles, counter, normal, warning, all of those styles, that is stored in this one file called ANZ file 1. It's all in this file. Any change here is made in this file. It's all made in this file and only in this file. But what you might want to do is you might want to store this in the template so that next time you make a file from scratch, it will inherit this marriage back to warning. So any change in here that you want to put into the theme, you've got to make the change in here, apply the changes, then this will light up. And then you can save all of the changes, all of them at once, 50 of them if you want. You can save those back into the theme, into Contosi, and next time you make a new file, they're going to be picked up here. So you just save that over the existing styles file, and next time that's what's going to be in the default set for new files. That doesn't help you with existing files, of course. So what you've got to do with existing files is you've got to come into File, you open a file with another theme, you choose the modified theme, and you bring it into your existing file. So it's a little manual process for each of the files, but this is where you do it. In the File menu, open a file with another theme, and that will allow you to swap out themes or update themes between the files. That's how that works. Okay, on the same topic area, so remember in here, we've just got black and white text, and in the output, it looks a little bit different. In here, the text is Times New Roman, which is a bit of a strange choice, but it is, it's Times New Roman. It's 12 point, and in the output, it's different. Now, let's just talk about the one exception to how this works. We'll go for counter. I think Times New Roman's just not that interesting. But we'll just go back to Arial because I think it's just a little more attractive. But what I will do here is I'll change the default color for counter to Arial 14 blue. So let's apply the changes. And so anywhere it finds that in the document, this text is going to be blue. In the output, not surprisingly, it's still going to turn up as black. Okay, so changing the font color, that doesn't affect it either. It doesn't affect it in the output either. It still says, well, you want black because that's what it is in Word. Here's the exception. If you come into here and change intentionally the text using this, one little bit of text, we assume that that's important to you, that you've made the text red. We assume that you really, really want it red. So what it will do is say, okay, you definitely want it red. You've overridden that content. Therefore, we will say good enough. We won't take the font. We won't take the size, but what we will take is the red. And so we'll put that into here. So that's how that works. So we assume that because you've overridden it, that's what's really important to you. Okie doke. I hope that makes some sense. So let's return to the top of the document here. All right, so the Word template is in the Runthru templates folder. You can make your own by copying it. Styles, colors work between Runthru instruction and Word. The fonts were spoken about. It's different between Word and inside the application. Colors was spoken about. Headings. Okay, so we haven't really touched on headings. Let's have a quick talk about that. Updating. We did speak about updating the templates for new files. So you save the template into the new file. The font, John, thanks for the question. So the font type remains the same, but the font type is unchanged. Like you haven't overridden it, so the font type remains unchanged. Let's have a little look at that. Let's exacerbate the problem, and we'll come back and look at that. Now, let's see. let's take the I accept, let's change the word accept. And we can't change the font size in here intentionally. We can make it bold. We can make it underline. That's a bit of a throwback to days of past, isn't it? The underline. But we've bolded it at this point. And so we'll also bold this word as well. And we'll italicize this word here just for the sake of the argument. They're the only changes that you can make in these text boxes. So let's have a quick look at what that looks like. Should be easy to find because it's red. So the bolding, italicizing, and this come through in the font defined in here. So you don't get to override the font. That's intentional. And I think this is a good way of doing it. Now, the whole vibe of this application is to really try and reduce the creativity when it comes to this point. Nothing to stop you having another box style with counters in it that has different fonts in it. If you want to do that and matches up to a different style in here, you could definitely do that. Okay, now where were we? Top of the document here. Okay, updating the template for new files. So we spoke about in the box being able to save it back into the theme. You can do that. And we're going to talk about what is a Word document really. I'm not going to dwell on this, but I do want to show you just quickly what this is. This is probably not going to be of huge use to you in the future, but I find this interesting. I hope you do as well. Browse, and we want to just put it somewhere where I can find it. My brilliant title.docx. Just want to save it somewhere where I can find it easily. We'll pop that out of the way. We need to find my special storage folder by date modified. Okay, this is the Word document. You know, if you double click on this, what's going to happen. If you double click on it, Word will open. This is actually a zip file. Microsoft make a zip file. Their Word document is a zip file. If you rename it to zip, you can double click on it and you can see what makes up this file. So inside of here, there's a whole various flavors of different things, different objects, and the pieces are all interconnected. Yes, the document itself has the majority of the work in it, but if you attach media, that is images, they're going to end up in here, or they're going to end up as something called base64. And so this is the file that we just made. If we were to open this, which we might as well do just to have a quick look at it, this is the guts of a Word document. This is XML, and the text that we've typed will be in here somewhere. It's not a huge document. In this case here, this particular object is a shape or a picture. This nonsense here is base64. So you can actually, a photograph inside of here might look like this. So I only show you this because, well, this is just, I suppose, a little bit interesting. This is the landscape in which we work to manufacture the files that you see when you push the publish button. We actually work with a tool called OpenXML Productivity Kit. So we take those files and we put them into here to analyze the structure of the document. I'll put it back the way it was. The zip file it's a DOTX, this particular file. Renaming a zip file to DOTX is not going to make it a Word document unless the structure is correct. Let's just put this over here. This is a different tool that we use to analyze the same thing that you just saw. Inside of here, we can see some pretty important things about the document. It's an easier way of analyzing the XML. So inside of here, you will see the body of your document and the different runs that make up that document. And you can do this thing called reflect code, which will actually show you C# code and how you could build code to build a Word document from absolute ground zero. This is a free tool. It's called OpenXML SDK Productivity Kit, and this is seriously for the geeky people. but this is something that we use to analyze the structure and the manufacture of DOTX documents, whereas all customers have to do is kind of push the button and out the other end it comes. Okay, now I want to talk about, and I can see we're over the half hour already, but we're getting through the list, so we don't have many other really important things to go. So what is the document really? It's a zip file. How do we do it? We push a button which creates the file from a template and injects all of these different elements in it in different ways. We're going to talk about merge fields, bookmarks, and something called walkthrough content. I'm going to have a look at that Word file template one more time. So we'll come into here, Tossi shortcut. This goes to the template file. Inside of here, I need to open, not double click. And then I'm going to look at a couple of things. This is the first one. This guy here is this little injection. I forget how to do that. I think it's a building block or a text box or something. I'll have to look it up. But it's a special element inside of here called title, and we can inject content into that. The other thing that's in here that we use on a much more regular basis are bookmarks. So what I'd like to do is have a look at the bookmarks that are in this document already. So we're going to just take this out, but first, home, insert bookmark. Okay, there's one bookmark in this document. It's hidden away. You can't actually see it, which is a funky thing about Microsoft Word. It hides the bookmarks so you can't see them. Inside of here, advanced, I think, show bookmarks. Inside of options, advanced, show bookmarks, and then it will show it to you. And it's not the most attractive thing in the world, but you can see here it is. This is that little I-beam is a bookmark, right? That's what it is. So what we're going to do, I think, is just clean up a little bit here and do this and make this normal style. Okay, good. And I think we're in good shape. I can't get, yeah, there I go. Okay. This little I-beam indicates a bookmark, insert bookmark. It indicates a bookmark called walkthrough content. All of our templates have this thing called walkthrough content in them. It's called walkthrough because that was the old name of the product, and we haven't changed it. So what if you want content to go between two elements in the document? This is before, and this is after. If you publish this now, your content will publish into the middle. It's going to go replace this I-beam in the middle. That's what's going to happen. So we'll see that in a minute. We'll publish again, and you'll see that this text goes before and this text goes after. Here, we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to use a bookmark for a different reason. My example, info. And so this doesn't have to be a table. It's just a demonstration of a bookmark. And into here, we'll insert a bookmark again. Bookmark, insert a bookmark. We'll make a new bookmark. And the new bookmark is going to be called, I don't know, topic area. There we go. It's called topic area. Where's it going to go? When I click on add, it's going to go here. Could be anywhere. It just happens to go in here. So now if we go to bookmarks, you'll see that there's one called topic area and one called walkthrough content. So we're going to substitute the whole of our document into the second one and a simple piece of text into the first one. So that's called a bookmark. We'll save our document away, save, and we'll come back and we'll use both of those things. Okay. In advanced, in document, we've got a couple of things. There is my brilliant title in document title, my fab title in document title. That's the thing that's going to turn up in the top of the document here. Here, we're going to have topic area. And this is going to be, what's it going to be? It's going to be as simple as topic area, northern region. Okay, and some comments which don't appear anywhere. And then we save this away. So we've got this topic area in this document. It's going to look for that bookmark inside of the Word document and hopefully put in this information for us. So we've saved that, come up to here, head back to publish, click on Word, and what we should see is our document with those things merged in the right place. My fab title has ended up there, and here we have Northern Region gone into the bookmark. This is before, and then the content, and then this is after, because of that bookmark that was in the middle. If the bookmark isn't there, run-through instruction just puts all the content after the fact, after the last thing in your document is where the content's going to go. Okay. Frame table of contents, frame TOC. If you put in a table of contents into here, what it will do is it will look down underneath it, and anywhere it sees a text frame like this one, it's going to put in the text frame into the table of contents. So my final title, here's the, okay, table of contents is here. There's two text frames. There's this one called my next title, heading level 2. And then a little bit further down, we've got my final title, we'll make it heading level 3. So we've got two of these things, and we've got a table of contents. And if we publish to Microsoft Word, it will go through and it will do clever things like work out what page those elements are on, and it will create the links for you. So here's Contossi, here's the information at the top of our document, and here's our TOC. Both things are on page 2. And of course, if you control click, or in similarly, if you publish to Acrobat, it will jump to those elements on the page, and away we go. So that's the table of contents, which is a pretty simple way of getting a TOC at the top of the document. And there it is. Now, next one, cross-referencing. Okay. This is a really important one. Let's come down here and pretend that we want to link from a piece of text to somewhere else inside of the document. And the somewhere else that we want to go to is, maybe it's here. See this page. Every single frame in run-through instruction has this little identifier, this catchy name here. As I change between these, each of these little names change, and we're going to go for this one. We're going to go for this one. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, QBR13Z, because it's easier than remembering it. Then I go somewhere else in the document, and I want to create a link to the QBR page. So I'm going to do it in here. You can do it anywhere there's text. And what we'll do is we'll just put it on this piece of text here. That little box opens up. You put in a hash, which kind of means internal. You put in your QBR into here. You click on apply. I'm going to close this, but you don't have to. And that text called section here in step number 10 is going to end up as a hot link internal. So if you put an external link, HTTPS, blah, 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 it will end up as an external link. But in here, it's going to end up as an internal link in this document. So if I click on that, it will take me to the appropriate place inside of the document. And that will work in PDF. It will also work in HTML and many of the other outputs, obviously not in video, but that's how to do those internal cross-references inside of the application and turning up inside of Word. This is less used. It's called attachments. Many of the some of the text frame types have this. Let's have a look at this. Have a look at this one in here. Text frame. Okay. Some of the text frame types. What am I talking about? When you reach for this button, you grab something that we call a text frame. This is a vanilla text frame. You can bold and italicize and all that sort of good stuff, and it will work with all of the outputs. This is our go-to text frame. There are, however, two other sorts of text frame. This one you also have. You all get this. Text frame with table, Word, SharePoint, Teams only. So it doesn't work with everything. It works with a smaller set of things. And this is a newer one, and you probably haven't got this switched on. We only switch this on for people who really need it because it only works for a couple of different outputs. I think it's only Word and SharePoint. It only works with Word and SharePoint. It needs a new name. Currently, it's called Text Table V2. Let's make both of these so you can see the difference. So there's this one here, and there's this one here. So they're a little bit different, but in both cases, you can include embedded Word files so that they will turn up in the Microsoft Word output. So they look very, very similar here, but they have slightly different behaviors. I'll briefly show you the difference. So this is going to have my great title. It is going to be heading level 2. And inside of here, you can put your text and you can do more interesting things with it. So we can do hyperlink inside of here. You can still bold and italicize and underline and what have you. You can put an image into here and you can even add a table into here. But it's for these limited outputs, Word and SharePoint and Confluence only. But you can also put a Word file, an attached file in. Let's just choose a file. So we choose a DOTX. It could be anything that you want. But when you publish, this is going to end up as an attachment inside of the Word file. So you'll see that. So this one you have this one already, and you get it through the frame advanced section, and it's called this thing here, text frame with table. So you can use that. This one here you probably don't have. If you want it, we will switch it on for you. Here is an example. This is more advanced. There are more interesting things you can do inside of here, more things to do, but it's only for this limited output. But what you can do in here is kind of interesting stuff like, I'm looking for a picture to grab using, this is not a brilliant example, but I've just grabbed a tiny piece of screenshot here. So you can paste pictures into here and you can do interesting things such as right click on the picture and play with it, flip it over. You can even edit the image a little bit if you want to come into here and draw on the image. You can do stuff like that too. So this is a new frame type, again, limited outputs at this stage, but this will turn up in Microsoft Word as well. And if we come into here and we were to play with this a little bit, let's see what happens. Wide Latin could be interesting. Oh, let's see what that turns up like in the output. Okay, rubbish text in here, but attachment, 2 different sorts of Word output. Let's hit the go button and see what comes out the other end for us. Publish to Word, and hopefully that wide Latin text is not going to upset it too much. I've never tried that before, and as I mentioned, it is a new frame type. But let's see what we get, because we do like living a little bit dangerously when we do demonstrations for friends. Ta-da! John, you asked about that. It looks like in here you can have any sort of font that you want in that particular frame type. And then further down here, here's the attached Word document. Double click on that and it will open Word outside of Word, if you know, or from Word outside of Word. Okay, I think we're almost through our little list of things that we wanted to do. That was the table v2 frame with that crazy text in it. You saw the attachments in there. We've done cross-referencing. We had a quick look at the table of contents, and we've taken about 15 minutes longer than I'd hoped. So thank you for sticking around. And John, I see you've got a question in here. Yes, I mean we are working on a better way of those internal cross references between things. And we would be interested in your feedback. So for example, in here, if this was, if this is the case, go to step X. We are working on something in here using a similar concept to that frame unique referencing that I showed you earlier. Remember where we were on a frame and it had this unique identifier? We are working on a way to give you that. What we don't want to do is we don't want to do it clumsily. We want to do it really elegantly, but we are working on a technology to do this much more easily for you. Okay, well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time to stick with us today and to learn a little bit more about the integration with Microsoft Word. If you've got any questions, as always, just reach out to directly or through the website or directly on email, and you're welcome to email me as well. I'm grateful for your business. Thank you for all the questions. And really, if you come up with ideas or puzzles for us, please reach out. I mean, it's really what keeps us going is what you guys ask us, stuff that you want. It's really what makes a difference to us as a business is helping you achieve what you guys want to achieve. But again, thank you very much. I appreciate your attention today and look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks very much again. Bye for now.